trying to go live. Okay. All right. Okay, so we're here live. We're live at the march, the protest march for the nurses here in Bridgetown, Broad Street. This is Marcia Weeks. Please share this live. Please share this live. Please share this live. It's all about the nurses today, guys. Let's share this live. So guys, we're here live. We're here live with the nurses here in Broad Street, and they're chanting "No surrender," absolutely no surrender. So listen, guys, share it. Just share it. Everybody who is on, just share it for me, please. Share. It's not about us. It's about the nurses today. Yeah. No surrender. 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 No Okay, guys, we're here live. We're here live in Bridgetown, and the nurses are getting a lot of support. They are only limited to march with only 100 people, but we're happy to have them here. Yes, at this point. And I have here Mr. Winston, and Winston buying enough water. Winston buying water for everybody. Yes, when my water, Winston.
You want water?
When my water, Winston, when my water. Winston, oh, you give everybody water. When my water.
Yeah, you take one.
I can get one. All right. Yeah, Winston. Winston, you out here with the people?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, we live on Facebook. All right, okay. So we are now at the back of the march, and just getting some water. Winston, what you want to say to the people on Facebook? Guys, please share this. Everybody, when you share it, you stand in agreement with the nurses. Share it, please.
Yeah.
Philip. Yeah? All right, okay. So,
I'm saying that what an election has never been called during any form of protest or strike within Barbados. This is the first time in history that this has been done. It shows the insouciance of the government, of the Prime Minister, relative to what the nurses are experiencing and what they're going through. Okay? The fact that they would have also cut these nurses' pay. You've seen children on the side stand up. My mother's a nurse. I have been affected by what is going on here. I have been personally affected. It hurts your heart profoundly. How can you say you care? And look at these people. Look, these people. You know, how can they support their households? How can they pay their bills? How they can support their children? You understand me? This is not right. Okay? And it's time we stand up and do something about it. Okay?
Yeah. Wow, awesome, awesome.
Time for the people get
awesome.
For real.
You're supporting the nurses today? Supporting the nurses? We were nurse. Oh man, my heart goes out to you. Yeah, heart goes out to you, man. We're here supporting the nurses. Guys, share this live. When you share the live, it's saying that you are in support of the nurses. Right? We can't let this happen. This is injustice, guys. Real injustice. So we're here. And we have our cameras, and we're making it bigger for them because only 100 people can be here. Only 100 people can be here. Okay, so based on the COVID, the COVID requirements, so we need you to share this and like it and let people know what is going on. Yeah, so please share. Everybody share.
We have rights! We have rights! We have rights! We have rights! We have rights!
You're supporting the nurses?
Yeah, of course.
Why are you supporting the nurses?
You don't really want them. You really don't want them.
No. Yes. Okay, you're supporting them?
Yes.
Yes, you're supporting the nurses. I think we all are. These are just people on the side of the road supporting the nurses. People here supporting the nurses. Yes. Wow, you're supporting the nurses? What's the name of your store? This is Mega Star? The Mega Star store. They have a lot of good things in here. Yes, and everybody here is supporting the nurses. Supporting. All right, yes. Yeah. They're supporting the nurses. Supporting the nurses. Yeah? Please share. Share this live, guys. Share this live. Everybody share. Everybody share. Supporting the nurses. Oh, wow. These people are on the roadside and they're supporting the nurses. Supporting.
Yes, I'm a nurse.
You're a nurse?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Shawn.
God bless you. I could see tears in your eyes.
Yes.
I see you're crying, ma'am.
Shawn.
Oh, my God.
Shawn, police.
Oh, God. Oh, Jesus. Wow. This is so heart-wrenching. That's a nurse on the side who is crying and watching what is going on and is crying. Guys, we got to share this. Yes? Share this, guys. Are you sharing? Share this live. Share this live. Very important. Yes. Hey, Kimar, you out here too, man? I know you would be out here. You're a man of the people. And I wish you all the best on your campaign.
Thank you very much.
You know, and listen, I know you would have been out here. You're so real.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, justice. Have to.
Today, no, it's not about me.
It's about them. Justice.
The same hero before COVID that they
I
not thanks for.
Do you think that we should have our nurses in the street like this?
No.
We should not have our nurses in the street like this.
Agreed.
You know? Yeah, so all the best, Kimar. Pushing you all the way, okay? Okay, guys. That's Kimar Stewart. He was out here. Right? That's Kathy there. And Lisa. And listen. This nurse is saying no surrender. Guys, you have to share. Everybody share, please. No surrender. No surrender. No surrender. No surrender. No surrender. No surrender.
It's got me doing it. What I know I mean it, do it with a loading back box, sport. What I know I mean it.
This one says no mandatory vaccinations, no mandatory vaccines. Wow, this is coming from the nurses.
Push one, push on! 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 That's one! That's one! Push one, push on! Push one, push on! Push one, push on!
They promised them, and they're charged with promises. Okay, they're just served with these promises. Nurses for the backbone of the healthcare system, and they treat them like this. Nurses have to use their own funds to help them in the healthcare system, right? So this has to happen. Calling the election and trying to stem this, people going to change anything. Anyhow, we got to move.
Yeah.
Good morning, Mr. Caswell, Marcia Weeks.
Hi.
Man of the people, man of the people. Yeah, thank you, sir.
I have to get onto the floor.
Yes. Successful day. Yes, man, had to be out here with the nurses. This is important. We're talking about here fight for the soul of this nation, and when we can't take care of our nurses, really, we're not taking care of the soul of this nation. These are our heroes. There's no way these people should be hitting the pavement today. No way they should be hitting the pavement. Absolutely not. So I had to be out here, right? Kimar, big up yourself. Guys, share this live. This is a young nurse.
No, my mom is a nurse.
Your mom is a nurse. Yeah, and you're out here for your mom?
Yeah.
Wow. How long your mom has been a nurse?
20-something years. I think that's the only job you ever knew.
Wow. Oh my goodness. You know, when I hear the nurses' stories, it brings tears to my eyes, honestly. This is not right. They should not be out here in the hot sun like this. These are our heroes.
Yeah.
You know. Guys, share this live if you're in agreement with the nurses and you're supporting these nurses today. Please share the live. Share the live.
No surrender! No surrender! No surrender! No surrender! No retreat! No surrender! No retreat! No surrender! No retreat! No surrender! No surrender!
No surrender! No surrender! No surrender! No surrender! No surrender! No surrender! No surrender! No surrender! No surrender! No surrender! No surrender! No surrender! No surrender! No surrender! No surrender! No surrender! No surrender! No surrender! No retreat! No retreat! No retreat! No surrender! 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 No retreat! No retreat! No surrender! No retreat! No retreat! No retreat! No surrender! 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 Enough is enough! 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 Enough is enough!
I tell Valerie bring the other car, right?
Please share this live, guys. Please share this live.
Enough is enough. Wrap up the signs. Put the signs.
Okay, so we're winding down now. Guys, we're winding down now, but we still ask you to share the live and be in support of the nurses. Very, very orderly march. Very orderly. And they're saying no retreat, no surrender, so you might just hear of another one. And they're now putting everything away. Yes. Yes. Please share this live. These are all the nurses here. And this has been a successful march here today. Successful.
No surrender! No retreat! No surrender! No retreat!
Great
No surrender!
effort this morning. They can only have 100 people, so they couldn't bring everybody with them, but there were nurses on the side. I saw a woman, a nurse crying, and as she was on the side with her child. There are people here on behalf of nurses, and so they have to now close up. The authorities have been very, very, very supportive, and great things have been happening. Philip, you're here?
I am. My darling, I didn't even see you.
Yes, Philip, well, you're here supporting the nurses?
I'm here supporting the nurses and also as a candidate for St. Thomas for the BSP, Barbados Sovereignty Party. And I think that the rights and the sovereignty of Barbados need to be kept in the forefront. And as a result, I am here to support my brothers and sisters.
Yes, yes. Yes.
It's on the other side of the road.
Okay. So we are closing off here. Closing off. You can take a picture. Can I take a picture? And then we're on Facebook, right? Can you send me? I'll give you my number. Right? Yeah. Mom, can I get a picture with you when you're done? Can I get a quick picture with you?
Oh, with me? Oh.
Yes.
And you are?
I'm Marcia Weeks. I did a show for the nurses. Yeah, so just send it to me, right? Send it to me? Yeah, thanks. How was the day for you today? Was a good day? Why?
Why?
Yes.
Because nurses were hurt.
Nurses were hurt. Yes. And we're here to show you support. And these are people that are sharing the live. Guys? Huh?
Thanks for the support.
Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Wonderful. Hello, hi. We're live on Facebook, Tanya. This is Marcia Weeks on the Marcia Week Show. Yes, and so we're just, you know, people are watching on Facebook right now. What do you want to say to people?
Enough is enough, and suffering support for the different institutions because we're fed up.
Yes. And how did you feel about it?
I felt good coming over every day. It's a good turnout, and I hope that we get some changes happening soon.
Yes, yes, wonderful. And how about you?
I'm very pleased.
Well, you still look so fully white. Let's look at her. Look how impeccable she is. Beautiful, wonderful. And we are in support. She neat, eh? Girl neat, man. We're supporting you, okay?
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. What do you think about today?
We want some closure. That's what it is about today. Closure.
Yes,
Closure.
yes.
Concise.
Correct. Okay. All right, guys, we're going to sign off. The nurses they are finished now. They have to disperse. So we are closing off at this time. So we have all kinds of persons in the medical field here. Right? Well overworked, surely underpaid. Can you imagine? Yeah, and we're fixing roads and doing all kinds of things.
When we get sick, we have to only go to tertiary institutions. So, let us fight and let us unite, nurses.
One for all and all for one. One for all and all for one.
Time to disperse. Thank you all for coming. Goodbye. Put the placards on the grass. Let's move out. We don't want to be responsible for a super spreader. That super spreader is called elections. We don't want to be responsible. Thank you all. Goodbye. We will see you.
Next time.
Okay, guys. Well, that is the mighty Caswell has spoken. He said we don't want to be responsible for a super spreader, so he's asked everybody to disperse, and that's what we're doing. Everybody's dispersing. Yeah? So, yeah. So, Kathy, you're here with nurses today. How come?
Because they have rights. They must be supported.
Yes.
This is unfair treatment just because they are not agreeing with what we want. That's not right.
Yeah.
This is politics. You will have an opposition, but you don't steal from them. You don't cut off their light of support for their family. You don't do them kind of things. You may disagree with them and show them where they may be wrong if they were wrong, but you don't do that, and that's wrong.
Okay.
So I fully support the nurses.
Thank you, Kathy. So we're going to sign off, guys. See you all at 7 p.m. tonight on the Election Express. Surely we're going to be talking about this. All right? Goodbye. Bye-bye. Enjoy your day. Bye-bye. Hey, good evening, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to the Marcia Week Show. We're coming to you live. It's 7 p.m. We don't normally have an evening show, but we know what's happening. This is the Election Express, and this is the first in the series. So we're so excited, and I just want to welcome those who are on. And I'm happy we're using StreamYard, because tonight what we want to do, guys, we want to hear from you. Listen, all of these candidates are saying that they're coming to serve you. So we want to hear from you. And as you are watching, I'm going to ask you to share. And if if they're representing your constituency, want you to ask questions or share the live to someone who's in that constituency, so that they can hear what it is these candidates are saying that they're going to do. And so I'm hoping that you're going to be all ready to share. This is not my usual time. I know I have my diehards that are here. Monica Ince, Ayodele Bishop, welcome, and Sonia Pert. Sonia Pert is, she is a diehard and always supporting me. And so I'm going to ask you to share the live. We need you. Don't just watch, right? But to share. Let everybody know that we're on, and this is a way that we can ask questions. And on our Election Express, we're going to have a lot of the third parties are going to be on, because as we can see with a lot of the traditional press, many times they do not get as much airplay as the other candidates. So this is the forum. This is grassroots. We're talking about third party candidates, right? And we're not even going to waste any time. We're going to bring up right now Mr. Philip Springer. Welcome, Mr. Springer. Welcome.
Thank you.
Listen, I know you're out in the field and getting yourself refreshed and so on. But we're so happy to have you here, Mr. Springer and Mr. Phillips.
Yes.
Well, look at that, Springer, Grenville, Phillips.
Philip Phillips. I like that one.
Yes.
Great to have you, sir. How are you doing,
Yes.
Mr. Phillips?
I'm always well. Yes, nothing bothers me. I'm always well. Because when
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, we have a great hour lineup for you guys to talk to the people. I know that people are going to share, and even after the program is over, people are going to continue to share. All right. And I know, Mrs. Springer, you were at the march that we just showed a while ago with the
Yes,
nurses.
I was.
What was going through your mind? You're a candidate, you're a Barbadian, you're in that atmosphere. People said, you know what, I had goosebumps watching it. Well, how was it for you?
Well, a bit surreal, because the circumstances under which this march took place. My mother was a nurse for 34 years, from the QEH to the geriatric hospital to the St. Thomas Hospital to the mental. She spent 34 years of her life, the only job she probably ever had, as far as I know, dealing with patients and the issues of healthcare. I'm in the healthcare industry myself, and it is a wonderful, I think, thing when you can support the people, those frontline workers who, during the outbreak of this epidemic, were putting themselves on the line for the people, and then to be treated with disdain and the type of disrespect at Christmas time of old times, where your salaries are being frozen, or in some cases, I understand, even being money being taken out of people's account. That is not the time for this. And to me, I felt nothing but compassion for them, and I had to go show my support as a candidate and a potential future politician in this country. We're all entitled. We're citizens. We can exercise our rights, and I've decided to exercise mine.
Yeah, well, it was really a joy to see you there, and some of the independents were out in there, supporting a lot from the third parties actually were out supporting. I saw yourself. There was Alex Mitchell, and there were some others from BFP who were there. But we also saw there was Kemar Stewart is his last name, who
Yes.
in the city, and is a very cool guy, and always connect with the people. And he was there, as well,
Fallon
and
Best, Fallon Best as well, and a few others that I saw there as well, which was very encouraging.
yes, yes, very, very encouraging. Well, you all have just joined us. If you're just joining us, we are talking to Philip Springer, and he is from the BSP and also from the coalition, right? It's the Barbados Sovereign Party, but he's also part of the coalition of independent parties. All right, and
Correct.
we also am I correct?
Correct. You are correct.
Yes,
In
yes,
coalition
and
with Solutions Barbados, New Kingdom Alliance, and the BFP, which is Bajan Free Party. I think, and some independents. I've been approached. I'm sure Mr. Phillips has been as well. We've got about 4 or 5 other independents who are not party aligned or aren't running with anyone who have also approached us and have mentioned wanting to caucus with us and kind of put this fight together for the people, on behalf of the people.
yes, yes, wonderful. Miss Phillips, welcome again. And
Thank you.
you are one of those pioneers, and I call you a patriot in this country. And I think history will commend you. You know how it's a lot of times it's after we're gone, right? But you have put up such a fight in this country, especially with the Republic, etc. But last election, you started a party, Solutions Barbados, and here you are this year. You have now joined with several other third parties and formed a coalition. And why is that?
Well, first, before we go into that, I just want to speak on the nurses too, because my mother was a nurse for over 30 years. I have a very special place in my heart for nurses. I think that is one of the callings. There are some professions that are callings. That's one. I think teachers, that's another calling. So not many are callings. Some are simply there that you go and work and you make a salary and you go and pay a mortgage and those sort of things. But the others where the money isn't that great, but it's a calling. You really want to help the sick, to relieve the suffering. That's a calling. So I bless those nurses. There's only so much you can take, I suppose. So if you have nurses coming out on strike, it means they must be listened to. Nurses just don't come out. Not nurses, right? Others may, if the transport board drivers came out on strike, they say, "Oh, right, well, they just probably want more money," or whatever it is. But if a nurse comes on strike, you need to just settle and hear what their complaint is and see how that can be addressed. The complaints so far that I can gather are things that can be resolved.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
I'm concerned that they're not being. It's simply a matter of prioritizing some things, but there are things that can easily be addressed. So I don't know why this thing is prolonging like this. I just don't understand that one. So maybe there's more in the mortar. I don't know, but it once you have nurses striking, that's not good for the country. Let others strike. But when nurses are striking, no.
And you know what? It's especially in a pandemic, and we are looking at, we're looking at the numbers. I mean, what are the numbers today? I know up to yesterday it was about 1,600. What are the numbers? Have we ever seen numbers like this climbing like this?
Yes. Well, as you hit the nail on the head, in a pandemic. Therefore, there is something extremely important. It needs to be given the importance it deserves. It's a significant thing that's happening. let's try and find out what let's if resources need to be diverted, if you need to prioritize resources, but you need to look after your nurses, especially after they have given so much. And again, as I said, I'm very biased because my mother, I guess, is a nurse. Because once a nurse, always a nurse. She has that nurse's heart. She has a nurse's heart. There are some, I suppose, that go into it for the money, and those who are really called. Um, let's at least look after our nurses. So I just had to get that out there. And I was surprised. I'm surprised actually to learn that Philip's mother was a nurse as well. We apparently have so much in common. I'm so. Um,
Thank you, Grenville.
Yes. So this is the most important election in Barbados' history. I am. That is not hyperbole. That is not just speaking off the cuff. That is a considered opinion. It is this one is the most important election we have ever had. If we get this one wrong, the consequences are so dire. And again, I'm just not speaking as someone involved in politics. I'm speaking from my heart. I am bringing all of me. I am an engineer. I'm an author. I do a lot of other things. I'm a planner. I'm a project manager. I'm a lot of things. And all of me is saying, I believe, I love the Lord. I'm a Christian. But all of me, every fiber of my being, this is the most important election we have ever had. And if we get this one wrong, there is a heap of trouble for Barbados. Consequences are dire. And for that reason, we will have to make the case. We will have to prosecute the case. And that's what we intend to do. To prosecute the case, we fortunately, we will have an election broadcast. We'll have an opportunity there. But starting next week, our flyers will be out, and you will then see more of a presence of Solutions Barbados and the others. We were preparing this week. This week was a time of preparation. We have to get critical things done step by step. We need to get our flyers out. We need to get them printed and in every household. We need to get some voice notes out. We need to make preparations for going forward. So we let the initial stampede happen, because whenever there's a rush at the gate, when someone rings the bell for the athletes to go, there's a big rush. And we let the elephants run. Let them go out there. Let them go out there and jostle for position. We are just there in the pack. We're there, but we're right there, but we're not up front with them. Let them go ahead. Right? So they go ahead. Let them go ahead and give out their goodies. Let them give out their Christmas presents. We're just being polite here. So they're giving out their Christmas presents. Right? They have Christmas presents to give out. Let them give them. We are not competing with that. We don't have Christmas presents like that to give out. So we're not competing with them. They go ahead. Let them give out their presents. And let them remind the public of Barbados that these presents don't do much. You give the present, and then you raise taxes and you take it back. So let them go ahead and remind the public of how bad they really are. And then next week, we will come out. The path is clear. And we go, and we thank them for trampling down the grass. We thank them, trampling it down. The big elephants, the bees on the big elephants, let them trample it down. And therefore we can go and walk easier.
But that's a great perspective, Mr. Phillips. But I do know that it's a snap election, and so it's only 21 days to appear. With how the economy is, not a lot of money flowing. Well, not for some people. And so I know it's difficult for a lot of the third parties to get ready. Mr. Springer, what are your thoughts about this? I love Mr. Phillips Grenville's perspective on it, but the reality is that, you know, this $3,000, I saw, you know, that is being given out. People are saying they're getting $3,000 and so on. I mean, you guys would not have that kind of budget. The big posters and the big blitz and the big launches. You know, you're a third party. How do you feel looking at all of that happening?
I'm excited, Marcia. I feel that this is David and Goliath. I read the Bible. I grew up reading the Bible, understanding the power of God, understanding that we are all conceived in sin and brought forth in iniquity. Let me preface anything I say from this point out based on that. I also believe in prophecy, and I believe that this election is, as Mr. Granville Phillips said, the most critical election in Barbados history. And the reason for this is we had a DLP government prior to this for 10 years. They were swept out of office 100%. This new government, the DLP, was put in to replace them to make wrong things right. We have seen more of the same old, and even in some cases worse than before. And it is time the pendulum will swing back the other way. I believe that. I'm going to be an agitator a little bit tonight, in the sense that I believe that the snap election is not such a detriment. As a matter of fact, I would rather believe that it is the will of God, and that in fact, if it was called at any other time, other than this most awkward moment where you're coming out of a Christmas holiday, where you're given very few days to even prepare, not even weeks or months. You said 21 days, but the truth of the matter is, if you count from Monday to the day of the election, it's really only 16 days. And by the time you get through all of that, you really only have 1 week. By the time you put your preparations together, 1 week of real campaigning. But I do not believe for 1 minute that this was a planned date of call. I believe we were going to get an election. I think we were all getting ready for it. I know I was, and I'm sure some of the other people that I know and associated with were. But I would like to ask the question, just out of curiosity, why now? But the answer to that is not going to be flesh and blood. It is going to be something that was prophetic, because I think you're going to see the parting of the Red Sea. The children of Israel are going to be led out of Egypt. And this is the final straw. I could say a lot more about that, but I will allow other people to kick in and have their say on that matter. What I'm saying in a nutshell, or what I'm saying in plain English then, we've seen the extremes on both sides of the political spectrum. We only had two parties. This election is the time to make the change. And it's time that we have 4 or 5 parties in this country representing the people, and never again giving any party any majority status in this country. That's the only way the people's interest is going to be served. Coalition politics is the best solution for the people. And I say that because I understand coalition politics. I've lived abroad for most of my life. I've seen coalition governments formed. Coalition doesn't mean that you fold up your tent like Atherley and Eastman did and come under one umbrella. That's not coalition politics. That's just party politics. Same old, right? We have 3 BLP parties running in this election. The Bs, the BBLP, and the BAPP. The only alternative group in all of this election is the alliance that we have formed with independent-minded thinking people who are prepared to represent the interests of all Barbadians, no matter if they're Black, white, yellow, brown, male, female, gay, ungay, whatever. I'm not getting into all of that. We will represent the interests of the people of Barbados. First and foremost, hence the name Barbados Sovereignty Party. Everybody is born sovereign. It then depends on what we do with that sovereignty. We hand it over to these guys in a proxy, and they abuse it. And we sit back and re-elect them 5 more years. Well, I want recall legislation. I want integrity legislation. And I want an audit done on the abuse of the people's money. I will rest for now.
Well, you know what? Very spirited, very spirited. I must say, and you know, I hear Mr. Phillips. I hear people say, why should we give a third party a chance? You know, people are saying, well, if the traditional parties couldn't do anything for Barbados, why is it necessary to give a third party a chance? What would you say to them? People who are listening and say, well, you know, I don't really like third parties. I want to go with what we know. You know, these are the two parties we know. Why should they choose a third party?
Yes, well, we've tried the DLP's way, the Democratic Labour Party's way, and all they've done is put us in an unsustainable debt. The debts are unsustainable. Then we tried the Barbados Labour Party, and they've done the same thing, just ratchet up the debt. So it's even more unsustainable. Then we give that to the Bs or the Ds, more unsustainable debt, Bs, more unsustainable debt. It keeps growing and growing, just very unsustainable. So that it was foreseen that we would have to go to the IMF. I didn't expect that we would actually default. I didn't think that we would be that reckless, but we defaulted and then are here with the IMF. Now, so they have demonstrated over the past 55 years that they cannot manage our national economy. So that is proven. It is proven that they cannot manage our national economy, yet they want to become a republic. At least demonstrate that you can manage the national economy, which you were elected to do, without putting us in unsustainable debts, and then you talk about what your plans are. So every 5 years, what we have is the political parties, and I'm an engineer. As an engineer, I design structures and make sure that they're built properly. So if you're going to just do a house or something like that, you need 3 things. Number 1, you need plans. What are the plans? How does the house look? How big is it? How small is it? Windows, doors, etc. And that can be the manifestos. Then you need an economic plan, a financial plan. How are you going to pay for this construction? It's not just going to be built by magic. You need money to go and pay people to build it. And then the third ingredient is you need competent builders. You need those 3 things. 1, you need a plan, which is drawings. 2, you need a financial plan. How are you going to finance it? Are you going to go and get a mortgage? Are you going to go and work a lot or win the lottery? How are you going to finance this thing? What's the plan for doing that? And then third, what people are going to be used to build this thing. The manifestos contain the plan. And we can look at everyone's manifesto, we can line them up and say, well, the BLP manifesto doesn't sound too bad, or the Ds don't sound too bad, or Solutions Barbados, they're all workable. They're nice manifestos. I like the house. That's a pretty good house. I like to live there. But that's not, and unfortunately, what we've done is we have elected people based on the house and not on their capacity to build it or to finance it. So what we did is we put together a financial plan, an economic plan to show how we would build this thing. We were one of the few that did that. I think the UPP did that as well. And we were willing to share it with the financial institutions and say, look, have at it. Go and criticize it harshly, take a look at it, but let the other parties as well. The Barbados Labour Party refused to share their plan. The Democratic Labour Party refused to share their plan because their plan is simply to the IMF. Their plan is simply tax and tax and tax and tax and spend us into oblivion and until all these debts become unsustainable. And they are. 150% GDP debt, that is unsustainable. I think it's come down to about 130 something now, but it's still unsustainable. Anything over 40% is unsustainable. Certainly when you get to 60%, that is reckless. But we are now 130 or 40% unsustainable, just like the last administration. So they've both shown that their competence in doing this thing is really incompetence. They just can't do it. And how much more do they need to show Barbadians that they just cannot manage our national economy? So our plan costed. We are willing to give it to our financial national institution of Chartered Accountants of Barbados, Barbados Economic Society, the Barbados Chamber of Commerce, any financial institution. We are inviting them. Even now, we are inviting them. Come look at our plan. BLP, we know what their plan is now. That's the BERT plan. And all right, that's what they chose, the BERT plan. And I can accept that. The BERT plan, they just want to get the IMF in there to show the investors of the world who want to invest in Barbados that you can have some confidence that you'll get the money back, because we have the IMF looking over our shoulder and beating us in the event that we stray. So I understand that plan. But that plan shows that that is who we are. It shows that we cannot manage our national economy. It shows that we are so weak, we are so dense, we just can't manage a national economy of 280,000 people, right? We can't manage this economy for some reason. So why should you? And again, the next thing then is the people, and we have very good people. We have very good people, highly qualified people. The media asked us, please fill out a little form and let us know how much experience your people have, what do they do, and that sort of thing, our qualifications. So we spent a bit of time doing that, and we provided that to the media. And when they wanted that from all parties. So when they observed how qualified Solutions Barbados candidates were, they never used it. It never went into any of the media. They never used it, because once you put us against them, you can see that we are good builders. We are competent, highly qualified people, and they decided never to use it, so that the people of Barbados always will think, well, it's the B's or D's. When they were the least qualified, they had the least qualified candidates. So now we have it again. So we're here. Why should Barbados choose a third party this time?
Yes.
Because the first two parties have consistently failed. The only thing they know how to do is fail, and failure is not in what we see, but is in how sustainable is it. Have you gone into a sustainable debt to do this? Anyone can go and get money. Any idiot can borrow money. Any idiot can spend money. Anyone can spend money. It takes no competence whatsoever. It takes zero competence to go and take money and spend it. And that's all we're doing. We just spending with no care about who has to pay for this. That's why you need an economic plan. So we have a good economic plan. It's a proven plan. It's been independently verified as workable. It will save Barbados. So if they want that kind of prosperity, they vote for Solutions Barbados members, and those who Solutions Barbados endorses, those part of the coalition, Philip and Apostle Leroy. So it's up to them. It's up to the people. But we will present our case, and that's our job. Our job is to present our case to show you why you should vote for us. But that's why we look forward to answering questions. Anyone who has any questions, ask them. How do we plan to do this? How do we ask them? It's just that we are not asked in the traditional media. They just ask those things to the bees and assume that they have all the answers. They don't, and they've proven that they don't have all the answers. And the Auditor General's report every single year proves that they're just messing this thing up, just messing it up. So it's not
right.
Well,
one second there. Excuse me, Mr. Phillips. Excuse me. I think they're saying that the show is dropping out. Can anybody else verify that for me? If the show is dropping out, that's what someone said, and we want people to hear exactly what it is that you're saying. You know, I as I'm listening to you, Mr. Phillips, I want to ask Mr. Springer. Mrs. Springer, but do you think Barbados is ready So we're saying, okay, this is why you should choose a third party. The question is, why? The question is, is Barbados ready for a third party?
Marcia, that is a perfect question at the perfect time. And I'll tell you why. I'm sitting here listening to Mr. Phillips, and I'm thinking of one question. What is the definition of madness? Doing the same thing and expecting a different result. We have for 55 years done the same thing, elect either BLP or DLP government for 55 years. And in 55 years, as Mr. Phillips said, they have proven beyond any shadow of a doubt that they are not capable or competent sufficiently so in doing the nation's business. We have uh, a political class of people, or so they say, that are the ones that are always put forward to represent the interests of the people, but we never see the people's interests being represented. We see some small portions of the people being represented, but on the larger scale, it is self-interest. So my answer to your question is it is time to make the change. If we are going to save this country, and if we're going to make a future for our children and grandchildren, we have to make the change now. It is not an option 5 years from now or 10 years from now. The ship will have sailed by then. So, in answer to your question, why do I think it's time for a third party? Because we have given 55 years, that is more than 90% of my life, to these two sisters or brothers, whatever they are, maybe half brothers or half sisters. And they have achieved nothing but the chaos that we find ourselves in. They've managed the economy poorly. They've managed the healthcare system poorly. They've managed much of the whole country to the state that we're in, as Mr. Phillips just said. GDP is unacceptable. I would like to say one thing. I'm going to depart from my position now, and I will only say one thing sort of contrary to this. I would like to ask a question. In a pandemic, we had a health minister, Mr. Bostic, whom I have nothing but respect for. And Mr. Bostic, I'm in the healthcare industry, by the way. I sell pharmaceuticals to governments as well as companies and clinics and so on and so forth all through the region. But Mr. Bostic, in a pandemic, I thought was managing the pandemic. Barbados was doing pretty good. I followed the results of pandemic throughout this region. But yet Mr. Bostic is not running in this election. And I have to ask the question, probably one of your better ministers doing a better job of all the ministers is absent. So I'm just putting a question out there. I'll let the people decide for themselves what is the answer, unless we're given an official answer to explain why a minister, a health minister, who was trying very hard to provide the best professionals side that he could, is no longer either interested or no longer acceptable to the government that he served in less than the 5-year term that he was entitled to have.
Mrs. Spring, let me break you there. That's a very interesting question, and I haven't really stopped to ask that. I didn't think about that. But if he was doing such a great job, why wouldn't the Minister of Health, who was was featured in the last 2 years, he's the person who was featured. Why isn't he running? Interesting question. I'm going to ask those of you who are watching. You're watching. I wanted to. You heard the question the man posed, Mr. Springer posed, and he is from the Barbados Sovereignty Party, and they have come together and form a coalition with Solutions Barbados and also the Bajan Free Party. They have come together, and they believe that coalition is the way to go, and that it's very important in this election that give the third parties a look. And what I love, Mrs. Springer and Mr. Phillips, is that you have decided to come together, and I think that is beautiful. But I want to hear those of you who are watching and you can hear us. Why? I want to hear you. I want to hear from you guys tonight. I want to hear from the audience. If you have questions for any of the candidates, let us hear from the audience. And I want to also hear if you have an answer to the question, why do you think Mr. Bostic is not running in this election? And as you think about your answers and you post it, I'll be able to see it in real time. But I'm going to go to Mr. Phillips. And Mr. Phillips, can you talk to us about the constituencies that you are representing, that you are seeking to represent? At the moment, you have how many candidates that do you have, and what are the constituencies that they're representing? Because we don't yet hear about your candidates. That's the thing, we don't yet hear about. We're not hearing about you guys. So can you talk to us about your candidates?
Yes, because as I said, because it was a snap election, you design the system and then you implement it. We did this week designing, next week implementing. As I said, we did not want to be in that traffic. We did not want to be in that initial traffic. That was strategic. We just didn't. And I've been told by our members, please, you don't have to go up there. Don't let them go forward first. Don't go caught up in that there. Don't want to exhaust yourself with
Good
that
strategy.
there.
Good strategy.
Yes. I mean, you have to do. As I said, you design it, and therefore this concentrate on your flyer. Concentrate on getting that flyer done perfectly, because that flyer is that election circular. It's an election circular. That election circular must go into every single house in Barbados. And therefore, every house will get to see that's our manifesto. Our election circular is our manifesto. Our manifesto will go into every house in Barbados. We have we have been informed by the by the post office that we have a deadline of Monday at 2:30 to get those flyers into them. And therefore, we have to design them, get them printed, and then get them there. And each person has to go and look at their flyer and go over it until they can't go over it anymore, until they've perfected it as much as they can, because that's that's what they're talking to the people in the house. So and that's one thing. Their voice notes, video things, their social media campaigns. Just set those things up so that next week we're ready to go. And by then, these are out of our way. The people would have played with their Christmas toys.
It's a great strategy, if I may say. It's a great strategy because I saw someone from your from Solutions Barbados. They just put out there. This is Patricia Cox, and I had to look at it because I haven't seen it. So there's now that space is now created. So it's an interesting strategy. But can you tell us where are you? How many you have?
Yeah, so we have 11 candidates that are running this time. We have Jacqueline Aline running in St. Andrew, highly competent person. We have Fallon Best, he's running in Bridgetown.
Fallon. Fallon is very competent.
Yes, so he's running in Bridgetown. Against the B's and the D's. So, we have Robert Toussaint. He's running in St. Michael Central. We have Angela Eady. She's running in St. Michael West Central. We have Patricia Cox, a wonderful, competent lady.
Yes.
Running in St. Michael's South. I mean, that we were able to attract that quality.
Yes.
As you learn about them, because as we talked in our meetings, and I listened to them and how qualified they are and what they do, nothing but impressed. Nothing
And
but
I
impressed.
must say to you, Mr. Phillips, I know Patricia Cox, and for a number of years actually, and she literally goes into those communities and work with them. She was there just before Christmas, working with the women in the community, and
Yeah.
before she knew that there was going to be an election. So these are
Yes.
people that I know that she's a hard worker and she loves the community.
Loves people, but competent, able to build the house, right? A competent builder of the economy. We have Victorine Wilson, St. Michael West. As I said, once you hear their stories, because I can sit down here and I'll talk about all of these, we will have their, tonight, we will have their flyers up. That's the plan anyway. They'll have the flyers up because again, we're doing the digital stuff and then we're going physical. But we'll have their, while we're waiting on their physical flyers to be printed, their digital flyers are there so that anyone can read them.
Mm-hmm.
We have Kenneth Lewis, highly competent fellow from Christchurch, West Central. That's where he's representing. Sorry. We have Susan Corbin, Christchurch East. This woman is exceptional. She exceptional. And that's the thing about our candidates. They have spent their time becoming competent in managerial positions, becoming extremely competent at what they do in the corporate area, in other areas. But that's what they do. They haven't spent their time talking. So unfortunately, when you go on, you got to be careful. But they haven't spent their time talking and perfecting how bringing things over the right way. I'm an engineer. I'm the first chartered structural engineer, I think, to ever run in politics. I do designs. I do calculations. I'm not talking all the time. If I'm talking, I'm talking to say, well, you haven't built that correctly. You have to go and bring the jackhammer out and do it properly. So that's the kind of speech I do. I'm not a political fellow, but I'm forced into this because of these two parties that just can't get it done. And I said, well, here, why not try this? And they didn't want to. I said, well, if you don't want to go and look at it, I'll go and start a party. And then if you're still not looking at it, I'll run candidates against you. And we ran 28 the last time.
Actually, we're hearing here Camille Aline is saying we do need flyers so we can get their stories and know what their strengths are and what they have to offer.
I can send them to you.
Yes.
So that if you have some place that you want to put them, and so they can be distributed widely, I'll send them to you. But we will post them on our website as well. I'll have them on my Facebook page. People will have them on the Facebook pages as well, and they're going out. So that's the flyers going before us. So first we had the two beasts, the bees and the two elephants. I let them trample down, and get the graph flat, prepare the way for us. Then we have our social media, and then we are coming behind that physically.
Right.
And we're hopefully visiting every house.
We're looking forward.
Let me get some others. Let me get two others.
Oh, you have some others. I'm sorry.
Oh, yes, it's not finished yet. The cup running over. So we have Ronald Lord. He's representing St. Philip's South. And then we have Karina Goodridge. She's an attorney. She's the only attorney that we have in ours. Yes, ours isn't full of lawyers, but we have an excellent lawyer, St. Philip West. They're all wealth creators, and that's how you will know certainly our candidates, Solutions Barbados, because they're all wealth creators. They create wealth for others, for themselves and others. So they even though they have manufacturers and lawyers and different things like that, you will know them on the ballot, because on the ballot you can't put down BLP or DLP or Solutions Barbados or anything like that, but you will see wealth creator. And that's how you will know the Solutions Barbados candidates.
Wow. This is awesome, and I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of Solutions Barbados for putting forward such very capable, at least so far, what we're hearing of them, and some of them I know, and these are believers. These are people who are not going to be
Yes.
saying no God in Barbados.
Yeah.
So this is, and this is one of the reasons why we have this forum, Mr. Philip, so that I think there's some noise coming through.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. This is why we have this forum, so that we can present these candidates and we can support you as you in what you're doing.
I want to turn it a bit.
And yeah, and what we are going to be doing is all these candidates, we're hoping that over the period of time that you can have them on, schedule them to come onto the program and let us meet them. I want to meet Miss Corbin, and I want to meet all these people that you're talking about, that I haven't met. I know Patricia Cox, and I know Falon Best, and I know they are excellent people in terms of character and what they do. But we would like to meet them, and so that would be wonderful. But let me go to Mr. Philip Springer. So, Philip Springer, can you tell me, about Barbados Sovereign Party? How many candidates you have, and what areas are you representing?
Well, right now we have only the two that actually made the cut, myself and Michael Thompson. We did actually have about 12 potential candidates, but for one reason or another, because they did not make the cut, whether people didn't show up for the nomination and stuff like that. I think a lot of that was because most of them are first timers. I'm a first timer, but I've been around the political game for a long time. And what happened is that people talk to somebody and say, okay, yes, I'm going to come and nominate you. I'm going to second you. I'll come a witness. But then they go to work. I know of a few of my people who the people could not get time off their jobs to go do their civic duty, to just nominate or to. I had one of the candidates that was going to run with us, Emmanuel Barilla. He had a problem at the end of the day. Two of his people were threatened with losing their jobs if in fact they left the job to go nominate him. Things like that was occurring. I am also aware of two persons that Mr. Phillips had who have been threatened with the possibility of losing their job because they decided to run as candidates. I was told today at the walk for the nurses, there's another incident where somebody has in fact been given notice to that they're losing their job. These are the kinds of things that must stop. We are all Barbadians.
So tell me something, Mrs. Springer, though, because of time, I want to hear about your constituency. So which constituency are you seeking to represent?
I'm seeking to represent St. Thomas. That's where I was born. That's where my navel string is. My family is from St. Thomas. I was born in Farmers, St. Thomas. My family originated in St. Lucia and St. Andrew. However, I personally was born in St. Thomas. And Mr. Michael Thompson, who is the general secretary of our party, he qualified for St. Peter. But there was a bit of a conflict there because Reverend I can never remember his name. Mr. Phillips helped me out there. Linroy Scantleberry also qualified for St. Peter. So we had to make a decision. And so we decided that Mr. Thompson would run for the seat and Mr. Scantleberry would be the support in St. Peter. So we've had to make those kinds of adjustments. Altogether, Mr. Phillips did not give you the full list of all the candidates, but I believe we have 20 or 21 at this time between the coalition, and then there's probably another 3 or 4 independents that are talking to us. They've been talking to me up to today. There's a young lady, not Monique, her last name is Tate. I can't remember, Marissa Tate. And I had occasion to be on another show with her last night, and I went today and I collected her, and we went to Boundaries and Boundaries Commission, Electoral and Boundaries Commission, and we did some paperwork there with her, and she's quite organized. She's running in St. George North, and she's quite a person. She works in the fish market, but she's a very good entrepreneur, very qualified as well, and very educated, by the way. Just because she's a fisher person, does not, that's her choice. But
You know
she's
what you said, Philip, that she worked in the fish market, but you know, those are the people. Those are the people, and you know, that's what I love about these third parties. And I'm smiling because when I heard Grenville describe those people, I want to meet them. You know, when I hear you talk about this woman who is a you know, that's what she's, a fisherwoman. I want to meet her. I want
yes,
to meet her. I want those.
yes,
Yes, because these are the people. You know, in Jamaica we have a saying where you turn your hand and make fashion, right? These
yes,
are the people who they can take anything. They're innovative, and that's what
yes,
we need. We need
correct,
innovation. So
correct.
let the fisherwoman represent us. Come on, very
You know
important.
what
She's
I'm
an
looking
entrepreneur.
forward to? You know what I'm looking forward to, Marcia? A government that represents the people, that looks like the people. It's like a jury. A jury is supposed to be of your peers, a representative of your peers, a reflection of your peers. We have governments that are full of failed lawyers and other professions that they don't make it in, so they go and they get a cushy piece of cheese for 5 years or something. They've not been out there a slug and had to be rejected by the bank or miss a payment here or there or get, lawyers running them down or because they're lawyers and they go and they do it to people, then they go and get the job in government where it's an easy handout. I've never heard of a politician yet that missed a paycheck. You see? So all I'm saying is when these real folks here who go out and create, not only feed us, but they actually create the jobs that keep us whole, and yet they give their power over to these people who turn around and abuse the system because they don't have any better way of solving the problem. And I will apologize to the young lady because I said, but that's true. You're right. This lady is actually very qualified. She has about 3 degrees. And
Wow.
one in political
I
science.
want to meet this lady. I want to meet this lady.
Absolutely. I will set her up with you tomorrow. She has 1 degree in political science. She has a degree in, I believe, business and some, I don't remember. I think the third one is something to do with healthcare as well. And I will let her explain her way. But we have people like that. What we need to do, and what I think Mr. Phillips is waiting to do, we plan to do our launch later this week, possibly Saturday night, from what I understand. And I think that Mr. Phillips is not trying to get too far afield at this point. Once we're able to launch our candidates, we don't have 30, but we don't need 30. I tell the people in our coalition, you only need 1. You break the glass ceiling, it'll never be remended. Okay, so we need to break that little cocoon that these people have established for themselves. The bottom line is, once we're able to launch and get our people out there, and next week, Mr. Phillips is quite right, and I like his leadership because he is the chairman of the coalition, and I respect that. In that, you plan. You have to build a roadmap before you before you build the road. You have to know where you're going, and that's what under his leadership we've been doing for these past couple of days. Not panicking, not oh my God, it's not. We've never panicked. We thank God for the opportunity because no matter what the outcome is, we are going to show the people of Barbados that there is an alternative, that there is a difference, that you in fact are not stuck with any existing system. We were a colonial country, we became an independent country, and now we're a republic. And we did all that without even the consultation of the people. We became a republic without one citizen casting a vote or deciding that they wanted a republic. Nobody asked us. if we wanted a republic. But today we are a republic. Let me ask you a question. What are the rules of the republic? What are the constitutions that we're supposed to be living under at this time? How did
let
we
me
get
tell you,
into
the truth is that we don't have any right now. We're told let's do it afterwards, right?
How did we get into an election without a constitution, without rules? And when we now go and give them people the power again, how do we know what we're going to be dealing with tomorrow? I'm not trying to stoke any fires. I'm just asking the people to think.
No, you need to stoke the fire. That's a good fire to stoke, because you know what? This is about us. We live here. It's about us, and they're there to serve us, to represent us, to serve us. So we need to ask these questions, and I think that this is important. Now we only have 2 more minutes, 2 minutes, and so I want us to talk about where we can find the information, Mr. Chairman of the coalition, Mr. Grenville Phillips. Can you tell us where we can find the information, and when is the launch? Because I can tell you, people want to hear more, about the candidates.
Apostle Canterbury working on those things, so I can't tell you exactly right now, but I can pass that information on to you. The same way that I will pass on our flyers to you. As soon as information is known, I can pass it on to you. I will speak about the things that we are certain of, and therefore that's what I will provide to you. But very quickly, I don't want people to think that they should just give this coalition, they should not give these persons a chance, or they should just give us a chance because, Kadir, we had the B's and the D's and they failed, and therefore, well, let's just try these. No, that's not the way. That's not the way, because it's better to stay with the devil you know, right? It is better to stay with the devil you know. That's why, since we understood that, we designed this thing so that you get to know us. We are not the devil, right? We're not the devil. It's not two bad options. We presented our plan. We presented us, the people. You can see who we are. We are all believers. We are believers. The people that we are endorsing will be believers. And the reason why, and this endorsement is important, because since we don't have 30, we will need to endorse some. We will need to endorse some, because every Barbadian needs to know, needs to have a chance to say God or the devil. Right? I mean, it really is that. It comes down to that, God or the devil. We're not calling the B's and the D's the devil. We're not calling them. They are not the devil. They are not the devil, but they'll be voting. That's why we have to make the case, God or the devil. Now, we run out of time here, but we will make that case. We're not speaking this crazy stuff. It really is literally God or the devil.
I love how you put that.
And
we're out of time. We're out of time. I'll give Mr. Phillips.
I just want to add one more statement. This is a coalition run by 3 persons. It's a 3-party leadership. And the reason for this is that we're bringing a different brand of leadership to the people. Not one person making all the decisions for everybody. There are 3 leaders. We agreed upon this. And we agreed on who the chairman is, who the president of the party is, and who the general secretary of the party is. And we have decided how to work this relationship out in the best interest of the people. And so far, it is a different model than the one that the people have been given for 55 years. So I want us, as time goes on, Marcia, I appreciate you having us on. I appreciate it being on. But I want you to give us, the coalition, an opportunity to come back with some other members of our coalition, and before the election,
I guarantee you they're going to come back, because let me tell you, I could tell you from the comments, people are interested. And one person said here about ordinary people, and somebody said, let me tell you, Stafford King. Let me make a point here that it is ordinary people who put these so-called intellectuals in power. Then they betray the people, right? So I think it's time that we always love to look to lawyers, and this one is a doctor and all of that, but we want to be able to get the ordinary people who are skilled. Let me tell you, very, very skilled. So I'm looking forward. I'm honestly excited to meet these people, guys, and I'm asking people to share the live. Share the live. The opportunity that they're going to get on here, they're not going to be able to get that on traditional media. And so this is the Election Express. We make no bones about it. We are featuring, guys, all the third parties. That's what we're doing. Are we excited about it? All right. So, guys, thank you so much for coming on. I'm so proud of you all. So proud of that coalition. I'm excited. I know great things are going to happen. Grenville, you have stuck with it, and you're doing it, my guy. We're so excited. All right. So see you again. Look out for them. They're coming back. All right. God bless you.
Thank you, and God bless you too, and God bless.
Yeah. Oops. So sorry about that. We missed you. Were saying something. Go ahead. I'm very sorry. That was not very nice.
No, I said God bless you too, and God bless the audience.
Yes. God bless you.
Yes.
Okay. So see you all. God bless you. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, that was really, really, really exciting. I just love to see, I'm like Stafford, and all the others. I love to see just regular people. That's me, involved in these things, because they are the ones that make it work. And so look out for these people, and when the show comes up, share it. This is all about third party, and I'm making no bones about it. No bones about it. Okay, this is what is happening here. No, I'm excited, guys. I have two amazing candidates that are going to come to you now, and that is Mr. Patrick Tanis himself. Oh my goodness. Patrick, oh my Lord. Oh my God, we're talking about competent people, and here you are on my screen, and the Mr. Shawn Tudor himself. Listen, I know you guys have been on the field the entire day, and I feel so bad to ask you to come on the show, because I know you are hard workers. You hit the pavement. You're not in an office like in my constituency here that I live, because I'm not running, that I live, there is the Mr. Indar Ware, and I'm going to his name. And you know what? That man, the last election, Shawn, he actually didn't even do any campaigning. He sent out Mr. Wood for him. And this year he's employing people. We have not seen the man. We have not seen the man living in here. It's 3.5 years. And I tell you, Patrick, the only time I see that man is on TV. You understand me? The only time I see that man is on TV. So even in the campaigning so far, it's a little children and teenagers that he has paying to put up with. And the man, you know what they tell me? He's home. He's at the office. He's at the office. So when we're talking about ordinary people, and I know you guys are hitting the streets, hitting the pavement, talking to people, and I want to hear about that. And I thank you so much for taking the time out, to be here with me and to talk about your candidacy. So, Mr. Tanis, tell me about, why are you running? Why are you running?
Well, Marcia, I have had the fortune to have run before with the Democratic Labour Party. The results that were accumulated show that less than 10 votes separated me from Miss Bradshaw. Mm-hmm. And I'm not one to seek a public acclaim. I'm a professional in the area of finance, and I was pretty much thinking, you know what, let me try and get what I really wanted to happen for the people of St. Michael, Sulphise, and Barbados still done. And so I was working behind the scenes, connecting the government leaders with the right persons across the hemispheres. And I was willing to do that. I was willing to sit back and let, Barbados benefit from my expertise areas. And so that was what I was doing. But then I heard that there was a scenario that played out that the current administration was going to remove God from our Constitution. And let me tell you, right, when I heard that, I mean, God spoke to me, and my convictions were put in order. And if you know me well, you know, I am not the most perfect guy, but I love God. I love God. And if you want to get me stirred up, you trouble God and you trouble me. I am, and that stirred me up. And then several key leaders across the nation called me in the political realm, not even, you know, the most Christian, quote unquote, people, but leaders in politics, leaders in government, leaders from both parties that are being featured around the place over the last 55 years, called me and said, listen, you know, we need you. And I said, but you need me. I won't be running your party. They said, we need you as a country. And they called me. And Christmas morning, I went into the constituency and I saw the needs of the people. You know, for 8 years, you know, the current person who is in St. Michael's Southeast was there. And there's almost 60% unemployment. And there is, you know, Christmas morning, there were people calling for just, you know, a few dollars to try and even get something to eat, you know. And it occurred to me, this is wrong. But on top of that, the real wrong was when Bishop Avelino, he went into great detail, and my wife showed me the video of him highlighting and articulating with extremely, I mean, relevant skill and a divine unction. Bishop Adley, who is a very good friend of mine and an extremely competent leader, let me tell you, right? And a very serious man. He was outlining the deception that was being handed to Barbados by the Barbados Labour Party, that there is going to be, right, a move to bring God out of our Constitution and bring in things that are going to be unsavory, and that's putting it mildly, to the people of Barbados, and specifically the Christian community, which is in excess of 76% of all persons in this country. And yet a minority of less than that is having their way. They're kicking out what we, the majority, want. This is not democracy. We want to have God. And can you imagine, right? Can you imagine that morality, ethics, values, and all the things that matter for good, right, are being debated and tossed around on radio, so-called radio in Barbados, and people are freely, right, attacking not just the electorate, but the persons who spend money to keep this economy going, right? And we are being chastised as being wrong, and people who want to have unsustainable human relationships that are unethical and have no real value, and then to turn around and think that there is that thing that empowers them to tell us, the church, the Christians, the people who have sustainable lifestyles with families, because none of the things that these people are doing can produce natural families. They're not in any way sustainable, and yet they're telling us that we are wrong, right? And I said, look, I cannot sit back and let this happen. And I was moved. Me and Bishop Avely, we joined together hand in hand, and part of this coalition on our side is Lynette Eastman, who is a professional. Let me tell you, Lynette is the kind of person that for a long time we have disallowed from being a true representative of Barbados. This is going to change right now. Lynette will be elected, right? My colleague here, Shawn, on this show will be elected. Bishop Atherley will be elected, and we are going to have a different Barbados. This is a new thing about to happen in this country. A new hope.
Correct. Something new is happening. And
let me say this real quick before. Let me just add this real quick, right? None of the candidates in any of the other two parties are better than any of the candidates in these two parties. Because you have E or D attached to you, that doesn't mean you're better than any of the candidates here. We have the best candidates in our coalition, right? We have the best candidates that you can find anywhere. If you're saying that your candidates are equal to ours, then I would accept that, perhaps. But your candidates are not better than ours.
Correct, correct. And I'm listening. I also listen to the other coalition, and they seem to have, some really good people. And that's the thing, I believe that there are some people, Shawn, who are just wanting to serve. You could hear their heart, and they just want to serve. And Shawn, why are you running? Why are you a candidate?
Well, let me start. Um, I started praying for this country in 2015, actually meeting at a house in Kingsland, not praying for my needs or for anything like that, but specifically praying for this country and about government and about righteous government in this country. I started it in Kingsland. So no wonder I am once again, I am in Kingsland. And, we had the 2018 election and it didn't go how I expected. But we had been told by a prophetic word in 2017, and I said to one of my colleagues that's running here, the people are going to choose that young lady. And when that young lady utterly fails them, when that young lady shows them who she really is, it is after that election when people will finally turn and say, I want candidates with integrity. We've had enough of traditional politicians. We've had enough of traditional politics. We want genuine people with integrity. We want principled people who will go there and serve God and serve the people in a way that is uplifting for the entire country. And so that I never had any great expectation. I am not surprised about anything that this administration is doing. I am in no way surprised. As a matter of fact, my surprise is that they have done so poorly in terms of the economics. I thought that they would have at least have done a little bit better. In terms of the other activity, I knew that that was coming. And I I really doubled down from the day that the throne speech was made. For me, that was it. There was nothing else that was my priority after that, other than uh, helping people to understand where this country is going to go. So when the opportunity came to put myself forward as a candidate, that was not, yes, it was a hard decision in a sense, but in another sense, it wasn't a hard decision because you really have to step up to it. I said at the time of the throne speech, and that is when people started to realize, but even then, people didn't realize that the leader of this country is seeking to remake this country in her own image and in her own likeness, and that is not a good thing at all. The administration was given a mandate for economic renewal. People felt that the Dems had, lost their way and the country wasn't being hurt. And that administration was given a mandate for economic renewal. Immediately, they made life more difficult for poor people. They made life harder. But there has been no economic renewal. All the leader of this country seems to be bent on doing is recreating this society in a very perverse image and in a likeness that is foreign to us. I cannot sit as a Barbadian and just go along, enjoy my life because I can look after myself and do nothing about it. I think I have a duty, a God given duty, to rise up, say something, and offer the people an alternative, offer the people, um, a different way because we can do better in the country than going down the path that we're going, which will lead us into oblivion.
Wow. I mean, very passionate, Shawn, and both of you, it was out of a need to serve. Why you stepped up and and like you, I heard Reverend Atherley in Parliament, and I was so moved. I was so moved, and I believe just as though we were stirred. And you know, even people who don't go to church. I heard the Rastafari said, I mean, how you going to take God out because Selassie is our God? You know, it's like an affront to everybody that believe that, to religious people. You know, and so the question I'm asking our listeners, those who are watching, would you vote for a party that wants God to be removed from the Constitution? I really would like to hear your thoughts. I saw somebody said no. Steve Moore said no. I want to hear from others who are on. What would you do this? Because, you know, Patrick, the thing is that people say all the time, you know, you know, we know about the B's and we know the D's and we, you know, and so they decide to stick with them. You know, they decide to stick with them. Do you see that there's a veering away from traditional parties, especially because of an issue like this?
Yeah, absolutely, Marcia. I think that it is clear that the traditional parties are not traditional in the sense that they are representing Barbadians. They are not. Both parties. Look at what happened in St. Michael Southeast, right? Seven votes apparently separated me and Sandy Bradshaw, right? In 2013. Every attempt by the then Minister of Finance was used to remove me from that seat, from that rating. And he boasted in Parliament that he was going to put Rodney Grant there, who the polls did not reflect could win that seat. And yet the polls reflected that I would have won the seat then in 2013. And only God knows what happened. Only God knows what really happened. Let me put that there, right? Because something happened, right? And then on top of that, to hide what may have happened, it was clear that I was asked not to run and they had to find somebody else there to ensure that Ms. Bradshaw would have won the seat, right? And it was therefore collusion on both sides. I am saying that publicly. There was collusion on both sides because look at what happened. Grant slipped over to the DLP and returned happily after he did what he did to the Barbados Labour Party, right? And now is again supporting Sandy Bradshaw, which clearly he never stopped doing. He never stopped doing. He was always a supporter of Sandy Bradshaw. And what I'm going to say is this, right? The games have to stop. The fortunes of Barbadian people, when you look at what went on with radical investments that we were being told, and I heard the Barbados Labour Party prosecute Chris Sinclair and Mark Maloney, prosecute them up and down this country. And then all of a sudden, when the Barbados Labour Party is in office, who do you see next to the leaders of the Barbados Labour Party? The very two men that they prosecuted. So if that's the case, and there is this kind of thing going on, and then you hear about radical investments making overtures to buy vaccines for the people of Barbados, and those vaccines are, in essence, going to be charged to the people of Barbados at costs that do not reflect market values. And several lawyers have written about this, so you can go and check it yourselves, that reflect that something gravely wrong happened to that transaction. And if something didn't go wrong, we would not have known about it, in that the transaction went belly up. And then we were told by the press about it and how it was occurring. And then subsequently, the Minister of Health resigned and refused to go back to run for office. Something isn't right. And this is what we're facing. We're facing an administration that has several gray clouds over it. And we don't know how many more gray clouds are there. And so the collusion and the deception between the two parties, especially we can see that in St. Michael's Southeast, where all of a sudden you cannot speak to Patrick Tannis. Directives are being sent. Don't speak to him. Don't speak to Patrick Tannis. I grew up in the plane and you don't want people to speak to me. Let me tell you what, right? The church needs to pray, because all of a sudden we have a Gestapo, right? A Gestapo, Hitler-type administration running our country. You can't have Bajans speaking to other Bajans. What is that, right? We have a Gestapo. We have a new kind of governance in this new republic, right? And so this is the thing that we have to put our feet down, use or leverage. Don't mind if the candidate got a million flyers or not. The people of Barbados, you have got to break free from what is going on, because if you don't, we were told by the Prime Minister herself that austerity measures are coming, right? She said that after this election, austerity measures are coming. And let me tell you, we have been under austerity measures for the last 15 years. So I don't understand how austerity could be coming when you've been
what
here.
else are
So
we
you
gonna,
can't tell me
this is something else. This is something else. I mean, it, because she also said, that she's gonna have to make some tough decisions, and we want to know what these decisions are. Let me go over to Shawn. And Shawn, you have been with the constituents. You have been hitting the pavement there in Christchurch, and I want to. What are you hearing from the people? I mean, the pretty flyers, posters are up. I was in that area, although I saw a lot of them gotten torn down. To be honest, I saw some of those red posters torn down. But what are you hearing from the constituents there?
Something has really changed this time. The wool is coming off the eyes of the Barbadian people, and the Barbados Labour Party has got a problem on their hand. The atmosphere isn't there for them. The sense of jubilation and that we are going to win and so on isn't there. It is a very muted campaign from them. I certainly have never torn down a poster for anyone. Will never allow or permit supporters to do that. But I have been seeing that, especially because they put the leader, the lady that you are actually voting for. You mean you're voting for a representative? Yeah, but you really and truly you're voting for that leader. They put the leader on top, so her posters are harder to tear down. But I have noticed that in the constituency, several of the posters of the candidate are torn down. But what I keep hearing is that the people are extremely disappointed with that candidate in particular, because, as I said in the opening remarks at the nomination, that after the theater and after the circus, that the people are tired of Barbados Labour Party circus politics. Where you put on a big show, a big theatrical thing, and mesmerize people, and then the music stops, and for the most part, the performers become a disappearing act. And this is what I am hearing. I didn't see him come back. 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 I didn't hear him come back. And there's a general disappointment. I mean, I also, with respect to the government and what has been done, there are a few people who have said, "Well, I support them. I voted for them last time. As a BLP supporter." But the one thing I have not heard anyone say is, "I am pleased or I'm satisfied with the performance of the government." I have not heard that throughout. I am pleased with or I'm satisfied with the government. They say, yeah, he was a supporter and so on and so on, but they say next thing. And when you begin to point out to people, some want to admit, some don't admit, but there's huge dissatisfaction with the economic performance. Even the people that have not noticed the issues of the agenda that the government is pushing, and how insidious and dangerous that is. Even from the economic point of view, there is a dissatisfaction with the government. I have said that yes, we've had COVID, we've had the pandemic all over the world, but the government could have done better. They could have done better for ordinary people. With the billions that they borrowed, they could have done more to support ordinary people, to support families, support young people, youth development. It just wasn't there because it is not their priority. It was never their priority. It's not their interest. The leader of the party has a particular agenda, and that's the direction that the leader of the party is going in. And I think it will not be as easy for the Barbados Labour Party this time as it was last time. It absolutely will not be as easy.
Well, I'm seeing here, Adrian Hines is saying, thank you, Tanis. I'm still hot on the trail to find out the real story with Chris Sinclair. A lot of things are pointing to him as the person who helped fill Mia Motley's red bag in the last campaign with all the goodies from the cabinet. Oh my Lord, I didn't realize that I was reading. Well, you know what? It's an allegation, and we don't know. We don't know. I remember that red bag. I really do remember that red bag. Reagan, Shawn is saying that all the flyers and ribbons and red shirts, all that money spent and people's light and water cut off during a pandemic. That is so true. I know of families who, light and power came down so hard on them. They're in the dark. Steve Moore is saying, think about your children before you decide to vote any of these traditional parties. For me, guys, I want to give the third parties a chance, to talk and let us meet them. We're hearing the heart. I'm hearing Mr. Tanis. We're hearing Mr. Tudor, as he talked about what moved him, listening to the throne speech, etc., and how he was moved to be involved. And so it's important for us, to be able to connect with the candidate and to understand what is motivating them. Mr. Tanis, talk to us about, you grew up in the Pine. Yes, I know your sister as well, and you both are people who serve others, and you've grown up in the Pine, etc. What are some of your plans for the Pine? What is it? You were almost there. 7 votes separated you, but what are your plans? What's in your heart? What's in your bosom for the Pine?
All right, so we have a sports mechanism in the form of a brand new sports school that's being discussed and will be built in the area of the Pine, a multi-million-dollar complex, right?
So there's a sports school that's going to be built in the Pine.
That's correct. A multi-million-dollar complex that will be built in the Pine, right? It will have accessibility for all the sports in Barbados, literally, and it's at a high level of discussion. And the people of the Pine, their children who are gifted in sports, will benefit from it, right? And then that takes care of the progression of education, because education is very important for the people, and the skill level of the persons in the Pine. I mean, we have Ronaldo Mon, basketball coach, Derek Hurley, and Ivan Speed Ford, football legends, Tyreek that I just met with today, football legends that need to be out. And in the early days with Derek Hurley, he would carry teams across Trinidad and have them exposed, and he got quite a few scholarship winners out. And additionally, we also have Ronaldo Mon, who travels with me. We've met with the vice president of Nike and several leaders from Nike and NBA coaches and very senior basketball leaders, and Derek Hurley's 2 sons, Darion and Darren, were also on those trips. And what we're going to do is open up scholarship opportunities, which we have. Several of the kids have gone off on scholarships, and part of that is to have those persons take those scholarship opportunities. And then on top of that, we have a program that will bring zero unemployment, because we're going to teach people to code blockchain and coding. I chaired one of the largest blockchain companies on the planet, right? We're bringing the expertise. We have guys here now who are the top software engineers on the planet, literally in the world here. And they were with me. And I'm not sure why the nation has refused to show that part of the interview, where we told Barbadians how we're going to do it. I find it interesting because it's a cutting edge thing. We have one of the top engineers in the world, and he was there at the nomination process, at the press conference that I had, sharing how we've spoken to the affiliate big companies, the tech companies across the U.S. and across the world, that we're going to take. You see, because Barbados, we think Barbados is big, 166 square miles, 200 and something thousand people. Listen, if everybody in Barbados coded, we still wouldn't have enough code for apps and so on, because the apps and the applications on the net do not sleep. And so we will be you can earn as much in a first tier level as 40,000 US per person per year. And so we want to expose that. I hate to see, right, the skills up there in the plane and in St. Michael Southeast beyond the plane of people who do not have an opportunity. Well, guess what? We're bringing that opportunity. Now, prior to the 2013 election, what we did is we had our investors spend $14 million, and we spent that in the plane. It's on Regent Hill in the community development center, and we removed the old workshop from Parkinson School and contributed to the building of the new block at Parkinson School. And the government was not asked to spend a cent. And those investors are willing to spend up to $105 million a year that I have introduced to this country. And that's what we're bringing. We're bringing it to the plane, but guess what? We're going to expand and bring it to the rest of Barbados. So it's not like we're coming saying, okay, we believe in God, shut your mouth and lift your hands and, it's all over. That's how we're going to build the country. No, we're bringing serious investors who have a track record of building schools. Look, this is a huge event. We want ethical partnerships, and that's why we are coming forward. Persons like Shawn and myself and Bishop Adley Lynette, we are serious people. We are professionals. We know what we're doing, and we're not just bringing godly standards and bringing back family to this country and the ethics and values that Barbadians and Jamaicans, right, and Caribbean people for that matter, that we know what we want. We want families. You don't want what is being pushed at us, where somebody who wakes up one morning and decides that they're not a man anymore, even though biologically they're a man, that they're going to walk into a little girl's bathroom and pull out, themselves and try to use that bathroom. That's what the Barbados Party is bringing to this country, by extension. And so what we're doing is bringing investments into family structures. The church system, the church leaders will be involved in helping us bring back those semblances of normalcy to this country, and not just the evangelical and apostolic church. Our partners in the Anglican church will be with us hand in hand, and all the other churches, all of the other churches and the church leaders. We are brothers and sisters, and Barbados had it right. This country has been peaceful, right? All of a sudden, with all this talk about change and so on, violence erupted because you're confusing the population. But guess what?
Yeah.
Our answer
Patrick, you're talking there, and I'm remembering we just had a show with Dr. Morgan, and he was really underscoring what you're saying. And he said, that when you talk about fighting for the soul of the nation, he says, what is really the soul of the nation? It's the families. And so this election is so important because we are talking about families. We're talking about the soul of the nation. Now we have a question here, Tanis, because I'm going to ask people to write the questions. People are asking questions, and we're going to think about this question, Mr. Tanis. I'm going to talk with Shawn about his constituency and what he plans to do in there. And then I'm going to ask you to answer this question here. We want this to be interactive, guys. Listen, this is about us. All right? So I want you to ask them the question. Ask them the hard questions. Ask them some questions. All right? So, go ahead, Shawn, and talk to us about your constituency.
It is amazing how Patrick and I didn't discuss what we were planning to do for our communities. We talk otherwise. Neither of us needed to get in this race for anything to do with politics. We could both look after ourselves in terms of finance and in our connections in the financial sector. We didn't have to do this. We're not trying to get something for ourselves, but it genuinely pained me to see the loss of the dissipation of human potential and so on that happened under this administration. 3 short years. how they just let the young people just drift just like that and did nothing for them. And just like what Patrick said, I have said it. I had a broadcast going looping all day in the constituency. I am promising the people that we will provide full sponsorship, full scholarship for those who are inclined towards sports. We will invest in the skills training, in particular, allied with what Patrick is saying, whatever skill it is, we need to do something about that whole generation. And specifically, because of connections that I have as well, I have promised and I have said we're going to introduce high-tech farming, vertical farming under a program that this is the containerized farming under a program that I call block farming, where you have 20-foot and 40-foot containers. They're converted. All the hydroponics, everything is inside there, computer control, very sophisticated, but easy to operate, simple to operate, and you can produce large amounts of food, high quality food, A-grade food. You can grow whatsoever you like there, right next to your home, and that will provide significant agricultural opportunities. I was going through in the van, and the thing was speaking, and people stopped me, like we were trying to cover some more ground, and it's like, man, I hear you talk with our farming program. I want to be involved in that farming program. I want to get involved in that farming program. I want XYZ, but I have been careful to say to people, and I say it here again on this show, that I, during this campaign, will not help any person, even with an electricity bill or a light bill, because I don't want you to get confused that this is old-time politics with me seeking to induce you to vote or seeking to buy a vote. I said when the election is done and there are genuine needs, I will even personally respond to them. But for now, so yes, one of the, in addition to the scholarships that Patrick talked about for his constituency, I've said the same thing in mine. We're going to introduce the containerized farming, the vertically integrated high-tech farming, where you can have a 20-foot, 40-foot container. Everything is outfitted and kitted, and we're going to give the young people the opportunity to be farmers, the opportunity to be entrepreneurs, to do this in their areas and look after themselves without having to go anywhere, without having to go and acquire any land, without having to get licenses and so on. It would all be there. And in addition to that, in my constituency, I am saying we can help with the cost of living by helping to bring people's electricity bill, reduce it or bring it to zero with our renewable energy program at no upfront cost to the constituents. Absolutely no upfront cost to the constituents, but we can help with that. I believe that we can get through possibly a quarter of the residents over the 5-year term in terms of getting people with the photovoltaic there so they can get their electricity bills down to zero, no upfront cost to them. So as Patrick said, yes, we have godly principles. Yes, we are ethical. Yes, we have integrity, but we're not just coming and saying, oh, the Lord is good, just vote for us and so on and so on. Yes, we have integrity. We want to bring integrity to office, but we do have real programs and genuine solutions that will benefit ordinary people, that will help the average person. That we do have these programs. Mine are specifically focused on the youth, with the scholarship and the skills training, then the containerized farming, the high-tech farming, and the renewable energy that will bring the electricity bills down to zero at no upfront cost to the residents.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And you know what? Everybody's relating very well to you, what you guys are saying. And one of the things that I want to say, as Mr. Phillips was saying earlier, that, you know, sometimes we want to think that, oh, you know, all of these great minds are with these other parties, you know, and so people don't want to take a look at the third parties. But I want to encourage those that you are listening, take a look at the third parties. Listen to these men. You know, these are two men that I know, they are movers and shakers. These are not guys who are just, you know, it's all about Barbados. They have their hands, you know, in international stuff. And as I said, they don't go into, yeah, Just a phone call away. I know I've worked with these guys and I know what I'm talking about, right? And I've seen them in operation, right? So, and this is the thing about it, that it is so important that the right people get into the right positions to get the job done for the people. It's really about the people. And as I said, they don't need this job. It's not a thing that they are suffering, that they need this job. And one of the questions I want to put to everybody who comes on here is something that I saw Errol Barra do, and I want to ask you all about this, right? And I said to myself, everybody said, Marcia, you should run. Marcia, you should run. I didn't hear from God that I should run. But I'll tell you this now, Patrick and Shawn, that if I was supposed to run in this country, I am telling you that I would not, wouldn't even take a pay. If they give it to me, I put it straight into the community because I don't need it. You understand what I mean? What I'm saying is that, yes, it would be great to have extra, right? But I was living without it. And this, I've read up on Errol Barra, and there were times in his service to Barbados where he didn't even take a pay, or he took a pay cut for the people. This is a time when we need people to stand up and say, I am a servant and I will serve. And I know everybody have it hard, but I want to hear the leader saying, I would do that. But don't answer that yet. Answer the guy about he asked about the stadium. What about, working on that and making it into an academy? What are your thoughts about that, Patrick?
Well, I was a national sprinter. I held the sprint record for being the fastest sprinter in Barbados. Yeah, and also during the secondary school years, we held the record for the 4x1 record every year. We had the gold medal.
Listen, man, Usain Bolt in the house. Usain Bolt.
I also held the high jump record, the national high jump record. I also played basketball for Barbados, and so I was a sportsman. And so the national stadium, as it stands, is not in a good way. And I would, first of all, before I agree to have that stadium used for a sports school, what I would do is I would do a study on it and find out what is its current status. And then after that, I'd be in a position to say what we would do with it, because you don't want to make these statements, I will do this, I will do that, and you don't know what you're dealing with. So as a banker by profession, and I've managed multi-billion-dollar banks, and I'm always aware of costs. So I wouldn't agree to something unless there's a study on my desk showing me exactly what the situation is before I make an agreement or make a move to affirm a yes or no status on it. Because that's not how we as professionals operate. I have to know what I'm getting into first before I make that assessment. So after the assessment and I see what's going on in great detail about it, then I could say yay or nay to that being used. So that's my answer.
Well, wonderful. Thank you so much, Patrick. Valsia King. Hi, Valsia from New York. I'm watching from New York and very impressed with your ideas for the communities. When you're elected, God bless you all. And, the ideas, what I love about the ideas, it's something fresh to the communities, and it's not thinking, oh, this is just a pine. This is what they're talking about, some multi-billion-dollar stuff here. And,
Marcia,
and we,
one. Here's one for you, right? We have, on my side of this discussion, we have right now as we speak, on the Prime Minister's desk, an agreement by the Faster Payments Network of the Federal Reserve and myself, where we put to them a fix for the Barbados dollar. A fix for the Barbados dollar, where you would not have to earn foreign currency ever again in the history of this country. And she did not sign it.
So repeat, you did not have to earn what?
Foreign currency. You would not have, look, the stated pursuit of tourism, the stated pursuit of international business is to earn foreign currency, so that when you pay your bills, you can't at the moment pay your bills in Barbados dollars. You have to pay your bills in foreign currency. So you have to go and earn foreign currency. So the stated pursuit of tourism
Mm-hmm.
is to try and attract foreign currency. But they don't
Right.
earn foreign currency from tourism. They don't. They do
Mm-hmm.
not. And so the amount of foreign currency that they earn is from loans. That's where they get it from, grants. And what we said to them is that we are going to give them a fix, and I mean signed off by the relevant authorities. The Federal Reserve is the United States central bank. And we signed it off, right? And you may have heard that I am the person, along with my colleagues, but leading that team, consultative wise. We designed the world's first central bank digital currency. And so we worked with our counterparts in the United States and created a special fix for Barbados, a workable digital currency accepted by the Fed. And we put it on her desk, signed off by the chairman of the Federal Reserve Faster Payments Network, and supported by the officers of the Fed, the leaders of the Fed. Made calls to the Prime Minister. And to this day, we have not had a response from the Prime Minister on it.
Wow.
And it would have fixed the economic problems that Barbados has.
That
It
we're
would have
having.
fixed them.
Well, I'm listening to you, Mr. Tanis, and these are the guys. This is the kind of I am telling you that we need in our communities. We should not be going to the communities already thinking, oh, well, we could just do give them a little something, give a little corned beef, and give them a little this here, and give them a road here, and give them there. But no, we're talking about development of the community and the community is the people. And what I'm hearing here is the people. We're building, the farming and all of these things, and it's a fantastic. No wonder, Shawn, the people are saying that I want to hear more about that in Christchurch. What is it? Christchurch Central, right?
Christchurch East Central, and we're going to get the Marcia, we're busy trying to meet the people, but I'm also trying to get the material prepared that we can get it into the hands of the people, that they can look at it and see it. You've only got, it's a 16-hour day, Marcia. You get it from morning, you're in the field. You get home in the evening, you're working late into the night to get the things done. But come Monday, Tuesday, all my constituents will have my manifesto, my personal manifesto, and they'll be able to see. There's a number they'll be able to respond to and ask questions of that. Yes. I have had presentations from Patrick on that. I was not a part of that team. We collaborate on other things, but I've had presentations where they have, shown what they had planned to the country, what they have offered to the former Prime Minister, and what they've offered to the former Prime Minister, the outgoing Prime Minister, that would assist the country. And I know that will help us significantly. I really think I was so appalled. Honest to God, I was so appalled. I saw a brochure from a former honorable member of Parliament with 4 things on there. I put in 46 street lights. I fixed X amount of roads, something 100 or something, and I helped 1,100 people. Could you imagine an MP saying that? That's what you did for 3.5 years?
3.5. I've been there 3.5 years.
That's the thing. Roads and light. This is the government's business. That is not a political thing. You can't put down on nothing. I put in a street light for you. What? Put in a street light what? That is not your money. This is the business of government, is to provide street light, provide roads, and provide utilities and so on, right? And you ought to be ashamed that there were 1,100 people in your constituency that were so hard hit by the policies of this government that 1,100 people had to come to you for food vouchers and for help. And for a member of Parliament to sit down and reckon how many of these care packages were given out in their constituency, and then come and say, look, I helped 1,100 people. Absolutely ridiculous. But that is not the kind of thing that we're offering people. We are offering genuine solutions to uplift communities, to uplift people, because we care about people. We're not coming to people because we want to prop up a particular leader who is only about their legacy and a particular agenda. Have some pride in yourself, have some integrity, and don't go back there saying you're supporting that leader and going back running on that ticket and so on, right?
Yeah, I mean, Shawn, I can understand your. Shawn, hold a minute. Someone is saying, speak it, Shawn, speak it. Amazing the nonsense that Bajans accept from these parliamentarians. And, guys,
Indentured
I
servants.
understand.
Made indentured servants to the people.
Yes. And this
That's
is
what it
what
is.
this is what they are accepting. And we are to, just accept it. I mean, you can see it in the community. As I said, the crying thing in my community here in St. Philip South. I have never seen the man in real life. It must be Jesus. I am telling you, I just know he exists, but I've never seen him in there. Where in my life, I only listen. I'm telling you, it's like I don't know. I've never seen the man. I've not seen the man, and he is representing us, and you don't feel him in the community. I tell you this, Patrick, I went to the beach with there are some elderly people who go to the beach. I'm not elderly, but we go to the beach in the mornings, and those old ladies, I'm telling you, if they see him, I'm sure they're going to beat him with a handbag. The people are there say, listen, that man is the worst. And this is the kind of representation, as Shawn is saying, that we are getting from these people, so this is really, really something. Now there's some questions here, guys, and there's someone saying that we often hear the politicians talking to us, the candidates talking to us, but we don't get a chance to ask them questions. And so we have some questions here, and somebody's asking about I'm trying to look for them again, the questions, but someone was asking about energy. Did you see that question about energy? Anybody want to take it up?
I didn't see it.
Shawn, you could go for that one. They wanted to know if it was going to be for homes. So yes, the answer is yes for the homes. Yes.
Yes, it was thanks for answering that for the yes, Patrick. But not every home is available. Not every roof is suitable. The warehouse, some roofs were pitched and so on and so on. But yes, and I said no upfront cost. Patrick and I are finance people. We know how these things are done. It does not depend on you being able to get a loan from the credit union and so on to get these projects worked out. If you were going to put 5 kilowatts on 1,000 homes, you're going to 5 megawatts. You can organize, you can get that done as a separate package, and so on and so on and so on. So yes, it is for homes, because right now most people's electricity bill, the average bill is running between $200 and $300. I mean, you just have to deal with it, no matter how much you try to economize and so on. And with the rate increase that the electric company is asking for, and with what Patrick and I understand about commodity cycle, we know the oil price is going to go up. Therefore, the full adjustment addition is going to go up, plus the basic cost that they're seeking to get from. So electricity bills are not going to go down; they are going to go up. They're already running an average $250 somewhere in there. People are around $300. There are too many people falling behind with the light and power. And yes, we want to assist. It is a huge priority for me for the area. We will, it will take some time to get the program started, but but this is what we're offering to people. And I said it again, with no upfront cost to the householder. We're going to seek to have the photovoltaics installed. There are ways to do these things. Patrick and I understand how these things are financed. We understand how these things are done as a package. And yes, it is for householders. And then the knock-on effect of that is that we reduce the fuel import bill. We reduce the fuel import bill, and until the government transitions to the regime, to the financial economic regime that Patrick is talking about, it will help us to conserve foreign exchange. So yes, the residents, ordinary residents, not rich people, not who has the cash money, ordinary people in Christchurch, East Central, will benefit from the program that we have for renewable energy at no upfront cost.
Okay, wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. Now we have another question here from Ryan Turnkey, and he's asking, will you be dealing with the corruption issues in Barbados, land fraud, etc.? Patrick, tell me, let's be concise and get some of these answers. The people, they say, they keep talking to us. We want to ask them questions. What are your thoughts about that?
There's a structure in Barbados to deal with fraud. It starts with the police force, and then it's extended to the Director of Public Prosecutions. And we are not going to recreate the wheel. We're going to let that happen. But when it gets to us at the level where we are at as elected officials, we're not going to deny justice. That's what we can say.
I ditto to that.
Ditto that. And I'm looking for the questions. I got so excited. Any more questions, guys? Are we missing any questions here?
And while you're preparing for the next question, can I also say that the $3,000 voucher that is supposed to go to people owning their first homes, that's not going to help a lot of people because the unemployment is so high. It is in excess of 17% of all eligible employees in Barbados, and in some places that's the national average. In some places it's like St. Michael's Southeast. In some pockets of the Pine, you've got 60% unemployment. So how could those people get a mortgage from the bank to get that $3,000 certificate or voucher when they can't get a mortgage because they don't have a job? That's a useless promise, and it doesn't do anything for the high unemployment in Barbados. First, you've got to do your part to get people their jobs. And then when they get a job, then they can get a mortgage and then get the 3,000 voucher. I want to hear how many people can get that voucher. Not many, because they don't have a job.
And they know who the lawyers are that can get the $3,000 too. So don't get that with that. They know who the lawyers are will get that. Not every lawyer will get that. You ain't gonna pick your lawyer and get that. Don't mind them. How certain are the opposition parties that they will not end up splitting the vote to benefit of the BLP? Now, let me say this. This question was put to me even today. I am telling you that the population of Barbados, the electorate, is beginning to lump B and D together as the political establishment and almost has won. And the people of this country, the electorate, are looking for a fresh alternative away from the B and the D. Yes, a couple seats will be picked up here and there, but I don't believe it is a matter of splitting the vote. I believe that the electorate that see what Patrick and I and what we as the Alliance are offering will respond to us accordingly. And the others are the two that will split their vote, and they can go ahead and split it however many ways they like. But we believe that the electorate will respond to the fresh integrity, solution focused and solution oriented alternative that we are providing with people that you can trust. And I don't think it's going to be a matter of splitting the vote. I think it is going to be a matter of taking the vote from both B and D, and that we will get something new and fresh and different and invigorating in Barbados this time.
Thank you, Shawn. There's another question here. Says, I'm concerned that there isn't a useful interpretation of what constituency representation is all about. Have any of the candidates asked their constituents what representation means to them? Does it line up with the candidates' view of the same? That's a very good question. Patrick, you want to take that?
Yeah, I think it's an intelligent question coming from a brilliant mind. And when we meet with the persons in the constituency, that's the kind of discussion that entails. So that's the good thing about the question. And it brings out now what we do on those meetings when we go to households, or as it stands now, stand up in the road and talk to people because of the COVID situation, right? So those are the questions that are asked, and we share with them what representation is from our end. And funny enough, it satisfies the request on the side of the constituent.
Okay, great. Now, somebody else, there's another question here. If any of you guys get elected, would you be willing to address corruption and hold those criminals accountable for their crimes? I don't I think they mean the people in government. I think we kind of answered this question a bit. Shawn, you want to jump in?
I want to make it clear that dealing with crime and law is not the function of elected of political. You have to keep the judiciary separate from the political directorate.
Shawn, look in the camera. Shawn, come over. Shawn, okay. Come over a bit. Yes, thank you.
Yes. The law enforcement is a matter for the judiciary, and it is not for the political directorate to insert themselves into that kind of thing at that level. What, as Patrick said, Patrick, and none of us will stand in the way of justice and people in Barbados getting justice and for the wheels of justice to turn. But it is not for elected officials to direct the political directorate to insert themselves in the judicial process.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. And we're moving fast because we want to answer the questions. And guys, if you're watching this and you know anybody who lives in Christchurch, East Central, or people who live in the Pine, please share this with them. Please share this with them. As we say, this is an opportunity to get the word out about our third-party candidates. We had Solutions Barbados on before with Grenville Phillips and Philip Springer, and they have a coalition as well. And wherever their representative, Philip Springer was from St. Thomas, share it so that people can actually listen to what it is that they have to say and make a decision. Okay, very important. Here's another question coming at you. Wayne Hoyt is saying, Marcy, there's a reality that politicians seem to not connect with, and that is the role of the members of the civil service. And that is the role the members of the civil service play in the execution of all their plans. When elected, do they actually create an environment that allows the civil service to buy into the plans and policies and deliver a better service to the public? Wow, I love this, Mr. Hoyt. I love this. Patrick, you want to take this?
Sure. I think it's, again, another excellent question, Mr. Hoyt. I can tell you that there's a lot of respect from the persons who are ministers of the gospel. And you will find that in our coalition, 99% of us are ministers of the gospel. And these are very cherished people in the civil service who are our constituents in another place. And we value them. We value their input. They're Sunday school teachers and they are functionaries in our churches. So that answers the question alone. We will not just make sure that they have unhindered input so that they can join with us and join forces as it was meant to be, because that's how it was meant to be, that the elected officials and the civil servants work hand in hand to bring value to the people of Barbados. And that is how it will start to be and return to be, that relationship, that unique relationship between the minister and the PS is not one of friction and confrontation, but rather of cooperation. And that's what you're going to see from us. That is going to be a sigh of relief to every person in the civil service to see people like us, Shawn, myself, Lynette, and Reverend Atherley, and the members of this party being a part of. Listen, you know the friction that's going on in the civil service. You know what we have for that? We have the app for that.
Install the app, update the app, something, whatever the app. You got
to download the app and apply the app. We have the app for that.
Wow. So I'm looking for some more.
What I will add to that, I like how Patrick responded. The only time the civil service system and it doesn't work is when you have a despotic dictator. That's when the system breaks down. If you don't have a despotic dictator in leadership in the political directorate, then the system works. It works very well in England, the Westminster system of government with the political directorate and the civil service has worked smoothly for years and be very effective form of governance. It only breaks down when a dictator steps in. And that dictator is stepping out.
I want to hasten to add that, Marcia, as Christians, right? We pray for the persons who are running in other parties. There's no antagonism from us to them. There's full respect to them and their families, and there's no antagonism. So we may say things that appear to criticize them, which we do, and we may say things that will disagree with their policies, but we show them the absolute respect, and we give them the space to do what they're doing. We will disagree. As we said, that's how we both got here. We disagreed strongly to the point where we had to leave our spaces of comfort and come here. Now, it's on the policies that we disagree with these people. It's not on a personal vendetta. I have an excellent relationship with everybody as far as I am aware. And I'm not going to go after people and hurt them or say things, neither Shawn or Bishop Adderley or none of us. I'm telling you, our objective is to criticize what is being done that is not in line with the higher power that we serve. And let me tell you, right, we are as civil and as directed. Let me tell you, you know, people might hear Shawn and I tonight, and they don't understand everything that we say because we haven't had a whole week with them. But I can tell you the stuff that we've already said on this brilliant show, Marcia, that you've put together is enlightening enough for people to know, and we've shared it with enough passion and sensibility to know that this is not just serious, but it's going to be the stuff that will cause our country to come back from the abyss where it is currently at right now. The crime and violence is off the roof, right? We cannot live like this. We cannot live in poverty. We cannot live in fear. We cannot live without knowing where there's going to be an economic growth spurt. We have none of that. Every job that's being offered now is a job that shows that there is no hope for people with a good education unless you want to be an indentured servant and go no further. This is unacceptable for the Barbados that Barrow and even Adams created. And we want to take it to another level. The Barbados know that the act needs to be applied to.
Okay, you know what? We were supposed to be finished at 9 o'clock. We're gonna take this last question, and I promise you, whenever they come on, if we didn't answer your question tonight, we're tune in tomorrow evening at 7 o'clock, and we're gonna be on with more candidates. And you know, I have lots of friends who are, as Patrick said, you know, it's nothing against individuals. I have friends who are part of the traditional parties, but I'm using my time and my energy and my space to promote the third parties, because it's obvious to everybody they do not get as much airplay. And that's it. You know, it's nothing against them. I have my love, Kimar Stewart. I love him because he's so real, you know. And there's so many others that are there that I love, you know. But this space and my time and my energy is going to be given to those who the traditional media does not give them the same time of day. So I want you to help me. Help me, please. Share this live. If you want
Marcia, can I answer that question, though, about digital currencies?
Yes, I want you to answer it. But I just want to ask the others to share this live, guys, because I think it was fresh. I love the idea that they're not coming up with plans and looking on other people where they fix 2 rows and fix 3 light bulbs. You understand? Yeah. I love that because you're not speaking down to people. You're lifting up people, man. I love it. Yeah. So answer the question, Patrick, before I get all passionate about this.
All right. So let me take the route. Thank you, Marcia. We love you. You're an amazing lady, right? Listen, let me take the route of just explaining that you cannot take up Barbados dollars and pay external bills, right? When an invoice comes into a merchant, they can't say, well, look, I'm going to send a Barbados money order or wire transfer in Barbados dollars to you overseas, because the Barbados dollar is not accepted, right, as a currency that they can use. So this term about hard currency, it comes to bear. No, with the digital currency fix, within the digital system, which is essentially what the financial systems are now, digital, we can give the Barbados dollar a digital value, which is 50 US cents officially, because you plug it into a Federal Reserve server, and that's what it becomes, 50 cents to the US dollar. So the value of 50 cents to the Barbados dollar is what the merchants will get. So you can literally then take up Barbados dollars digitally and pay bills externally because it has a US dollar fixed value within the digital system. That's what we were bringing. And that's how you can then take up Barbados dollars and pay your bills. That's why you don't need US dollars now. You don't need to earn foreign currency because your dollar will be internationalized by plugging it into the Federal Reserve server.
Wow, this is we need to. You guys need to come back because this is so.
We both will come back. Bring us back together.
Yeah, together, yeah. Because I love the energy. There's a freshness happening here. There's something that's different, and I love it. I love it. So we're gonna come back, guys, and we've gone way over time tonight. But I know the people are. Did you all enjoy the show? Did you enjoy the show? Thumbs up, guys. Thumbs up if you enjoyed the show. Yeah. Thumbs up. Thumbs up, guys. Thumbs up. Yeah. Yes, we need these guys back on. Somebody saying yes. Yes. So, guys,
and Marcia,
yes.
just so you know, right, Marcia, there's a lot more we can share. Our expertise areas aren't limited to what we share. We only give you literally a glimpse of what is about to happen. And Barbados is about to be repositioned to be the #1 country on the planet based on some of the other things that Shawn and I can share, I assure you.
I really do want to come back on with that. Amazingly, we're both ordained ministers. We're both in the international finance, and our constituencies are right on to each other. So the southern boundary of his constituency is the northern boundary of my constituency, and we didn't plan it. It just happened so, you know. And we have always worked well together. Patrick and I have done projects together. We've gone on different sides of the same projects, and it has always worked well. Great to be on the show with Patrick tonight.
The honor is mine, my brother.
Yes, and thank you, Marlene.
Marcia, if I could just stick this in, right? Some of the things that we're going to start in our individual constituencies, we're going to collaborate at a national level and bring to the entire country. So it's not limited to, Christchurch and St. Michael's Southeast. Yeah, we're sharing that this is where we will start. But it's not. It's actually for Barbados. We're gonna.
But I want to say something though. Let me just cut you and say something. Cut you off. Please make sure you start it with those people in the constituency because that's where the problem is. You see, and then when it works, then pilot thing. Then let's take it now. To other places. But make sure them people in the Pine benefit these big ideas. Don't let somebody say they're too big for the people in the Pine, and don't let anybody tell you, Shawn, they're too big for Christchurch Central. No, they want big ideas too.
Absolutely, it's true. The Pine is my people. So yes, if you see 100 guys, it's my son. That's Michael Tanis, the great.
Yes.
My beloved son.
All right, guys, it was wonderful. It was wonderful. We are going to have more people, more persons next tomorrow. Tune in and share the live, and let this be the place that we're at to hear about the third parties. God bless you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Yes, guys. So we're gonna see you again tomorrow evening at 7 o'clock. Marlene, thank you for being here. Curtis, Legatus, Wayne Hoyt, thank you, Karen, Glasgow, my friend Jenny Highland, Valsia King, Douglas Mears. Oh my Lord, Douglas, he's such a man of the people as well. Adrian Hines, everybody who's commented. Thank you so much for being on. And the very first person that was on, Sonia Perch. Thank you, Sonia, for being on. As soon as I opened up, you were there. Thank you, Ayo Daly Bishop. Yes, and great to have you all on. And look out for me again tomorrow evening at 7. Share this live. It's important. We need to get people to know who they are. Okay? God bless you. Bye-bye.